We have no choice when we were kids.
Yes, true, it's a right-handed world. And right-handers, when's the last time you started using your left hand as much as your right?
When I had a stroke.
Perfect, right? So you were forced to do it. Right. Now I'm giving you, as sales and marketing people, this bit of advice that says be open to this alternative. Be open to what it can do for you in terms of balancing who you are and connecting with prospects and clients. And in the spirit of that too, when we have these two alternate resources, how do we put them together? You know, because what a lot of people do is they go, oh, heck with it, I'll just use my right hand, and the same with the lefties. But in actual fact, this is an incredible example of how putting the two together can be incredibly powerful. Has anybody ever heard of the Japanese sword of the Katana? Yeah. How incredibly legendary it is in terms of its flexibility, its strength, and how it can keep a keen edge. But what happened is, sword makers at the time were being kind of forced by the emperor to make something that would make his armies far more powerful than anyone else. So if they just used hard metal, like a razor blade, if you hit something with it, it would be incredibly sharp, but it would shatter. I think some people have probably taken a razor blade and snapped it. Conversely, they could make it incredibly resilient and bash it on rocks and it would bend. But you couldn't put a keen edge on it. So these beautiful sword makers came up with taking a piece of soft metal and hard metal, and they married them together, and then they folded it over in the furnace, and then they married and folded it, and they kept pounding it out and folded it over 20 times, and they ended up with over 1 million layers of alternating hard and soft, hard and soft, hard and soft. And what that ended up looking like, if you get in really close, you can see the different layers in the sword. And what you've got there is a soft layer supporting a hard layer, supporting a soft layer, supporting a hard layer, over 1 million layers of perfectly complementary, let's call them skill sets, married to each other and giving each their total strength. So it's not a wishy-washy kind of metal in the middle somewhere. It's this beautiful mix of these two types of steel. So when we talk about being open to being organic, we're also saying, let's make sure that when we do that, we learn how to put them together. And those are skills that we have to put together in our salesmanship. Because it's not learning one skill over the other, like door knocking or cold calling. You can't throw one out because it works for some people, maybe the left-brainers, and then you have to go to the other skills of relationship-based selling. You have to put them both together. And they go together in this way. People have seen the symbol, it's called the Tai Chi. It means the supreme ultimate, and it comes from Chinese philosophy, and it's them recognizing the alternating, how two complementary things go together. You can't have light without dark. You can't have dark without light. All of these things. So the swirl kind of says how they should be married together and go together, but also in the brilliance of it, it says, you know what? If you go too far into one, you should think of the other. So if you're too extreme and you use only your right hand for absolutely everything, maybe somehow you should say, maybe it would be valuable if I use my left a little. So in doing that and taking advantage of that, well, we have to note that when we get into sales and we're doing our things, we take the odd course, we can get into a bit of a comfort zone. But sometimes things attract us, incredibly attract us. And sometimes things repel us. They say, we don't want anything to do with that. And what this is the rule of extremes. When you finally recognize these, some people are drawn to making cold calls and other people are drawn to doing relationship selling. You have to understand why one is so appealing to you and why the other makes your skin crawl. And the rule of extremes says, understand that, explore it, determine what it is, and then figure how you can marry the two together. So in salesmanship and all the courses you take, it's not just about learning a new skill. It's about how you would marry that to your existing skills and be open to recognize how they should go together. And there are also people with complementary skills that act like a memory bank in a computer. So these are a bunch of computer chips from a computer, memory chips from a computer. And some people, before they go on that sales call, what they want to do is make absolutely sure that they fill every bit of memory here. They want to know absolutely everything about that product, right? And then what happens is they go with the phrase, look before you leap. I'm not going into that sales call telling about everything about this product. And then, you know what? I'm going to do it twice. And then you know what? I'm going to do it even 3 times. Meanwhile, on the other side of the fence, there are people who are CPUs. They're taking information, what little they have, and making decisions on it, and they're making a decision, and off they go. They believe that she who hesitates is lost. They say, hurry, hurry, hurry. They say, get out of my way, you are blocking me. And as we've just learned from the complementary skills, we have to learn how to balance these two things. And when you put these two together, in other words, you don't wait for all the information, but you do take action, we have this. And what this says is, do it, damn it! Stop accumulating information, because there are people that will sit in their offices for 300 years and accumulate information. And what they have to do is get out there and start taking action. Because once you start taking action, you start learning. Does anybody remember grade 10 chemistry? It was one of the greatest times of my life. I had this friend that I went in with. He was crazy. He saw a pH meter on the desk of the instructor, and he said, oh, look, a FUF meter. And I knew the year wouldn't be the same after that. He would do things like light the Bunsen burners from the table, all that sort of thing. But remember the glory that existed in that when the first week you walked in, there were all these clean test tubes. Everything was absolutely phenomenal. And we learned the most incredible thing. Does everybody remember what that is? Everybody remembers this most incredible thing because you carry it with you every day now, right? How to conduct an experiment. We had to come up with our problem, our hypothesis, our variables, our procedure, everything else. And then after grade 10, we just left it behind, right? But you know what? We were sold a linear lie. So we came out of high school and out of our post-secondary and our advanced education. And everybody said, this is how your life will go. While you're a baby and you're falling on your butt and you're doing things, we are there to support you. But beyond that, your life has got to look like this. And you know what? It just doesn't happen like that. In other words, Toastmasters helps, but it doesn't happen like that either. But this was my friend. And that's what really happened to us. He kind of exploded and blew a few things up. So life really looks like this. Our highs, our lows, we go up, we go down, and we really need to deal with that. Because when you live in a straight line world, people talk about failure like it's a bad thing. But what we all need to know is that failure isn't the opposite of success. Failure is the journey to success. And I'm going to show you how we use that grade 10 lesson in order to work on every failure that we have so that we too can be a success. So what we do is we take this. I hate things that are too complicated. I hate mission statements that are 400 statements long. So what we do is we simplify it. That element is the plan, so we have to do a plan. That element is, hey, do it, damn it, do it. Remember the little kid, that little powerful child? This is the part where after we've done something, we check what it is we did. And like in our car, if our car isn't going down the right path in the road, what do? We change something. We change the steering wheel so that we can go in the path that we want to go, in spite of what the road is causing us to do. So that's the secret. Plan, do, check, change. Now, without a plan, typically we'll have people that do things. So of course, the memory people will get in and they will just collect more and more information about the product before they go and do anything. And those decision-making people that just want to do everything, they get out there and do it. But they don't have enough information because they're unbalanced. So they try, they work hard, they keep going, they try to get better and better and better, and nothing happens. Not enough courses are taken. So they try to take more courses. And then the next step is do harder. You keep doing all the same things over and over again. Guess what changes? Nothing. There's an Einstein who said, if you always do what you always did, you always get what you always got, which is the definition of insanity, especially when you think something different will happen. So in all the sales that we do, we have to look at this and the lesson from grade 10 and says, okay, we're going to do something. We're going to know that we had an objective to do out there, and that objective came from our plan. And once we've done some things, some sales calls or some relationship building and out there, we check against our plan what we were doing. And as that last line said, if that doesn't work, then we change something. And that, believe it or not, is the secret. Everything we do, from reporting our results to conducting our sales calls to getting out there and prospecting, everything is an experiment, and we need to learn from every single one of those. Does everybody know an engine and how it works? It goes, it's got the 4-stroke engine, and if it goes, because that's the way it was designed, do you get any power out of it? No, it's got to go over and over and over again. So what happens is, in order to get power out of an engine, we have to do